In this video, we're going to build the user account page, mostly using concepts that we already know and already used before. And let's start by taking a look at what I actually mean with the user account page in our reference website. So here on naders.dev. So we already rendered this menu here on our website, but when we click then on this user, we get access to the user account page. And so here we can change some basic settings, also upload a new photo, but this one we are going to do in the next section actually. Okay, and the user can also update his password on this page. Then on the left side there are some menu items which we will not really implement. So we will only implement the menu, but not really the pages that they point to. And then if the user is an administrator, we also render this part down here. Okay, so this is what we will be building in this lecture. And in the next couple of lectures, we will then actually take care of really updating the settings. So basically making these buttons here work. All right, but for now, it's just rendering this page here on this .me URL. Okay, so let's start with the Pug template. All right, and so as always, I already have this account template here. So let's grab that, copy it, and then create a new view down here, which I'm calling account. And now we want to extend the base. And we want to create a block called content as always. And then in here is where we actually paste our content. All right. Now we need to indent all of this to make it inside of the block. Great. So here first we have our navigation, right? So settings, bookings, reviews, and billings that we saw there on the left side of the page. And then we also have the admin navigation, right? And I already see a lot of duplicate code here. So basically this list item elements here, they appear actually 8 times. So 4 times up here and 4 times down here. So let's very quickly just create a mixin for them to make our code look a bit cleaner. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and actually copy one of these and then create a new mixin called nav item. Okay, so we did that before, so this is very similar. So what do we need to pass into this mixin in order to basically customize each of these items? Well, what's going to change is the link, also the text, so settings, bookings, etc. So that's text. Then also the icon is going to be changing. And finally, you see that this first one here has this side nav active class, right? And so we will also specify an active flag here, basically. And then when we want to mark an item as active, we will simply pass in true here, okay? So now we need to fix the indentation here. And then pass in our data. Next is the text. So this, of course, at this point is nothing new. So I'm doing it pretty quickly here, right? So icon, and then the name of the icon that we pass in. So just like we did it before. And then finally, this active here, remember, will be either true or false. And if it is true, then we want to add this class. So let's copy it. And then here, let's specify the class attribute. And then, just like we did, let's do a ternary statement in here. So saying, if active, basically, then here we want to have side nav active. And if not, then we want nothing. So an empty class name, basically. All right. And so now we can replace this with our mixin. So that's called nav item. And so remember, we write plus and then nav item. So here the link is an empty link, and actually for all of them for now. Then settings, then the name of the icon, which is also settings, but in lowercase. And then finally this one is actually active, and so we pass in true. All right, let's duplicate it. I have a briefcase, and we have my bookings. Let's make that lowercase. All right, duplicate it 2 more times. So here we have star, and then here credit card. For billing. All right. And now we have the admin navigation, and this one will only be visible if the current user is an administrator. So let's actually define that using an if statement. And so here we need to test if the user role equals to admin, right? And so that's again one of these more complex if statements, and so we have to use JavaScript for that. So I'm using here unbuffered code again, and then if. And so we will have access to the user variable in here, so just as we did in other templates. So basically we're going to pass it into here. And then of course the user has the role attribute, and so we test if it's admin. And if it is, then we want to display all of this. And so it now needs to be 1 level indented. Okay, and of course now we want to replace all of these here with or mix in as well. So 4 times. This one is called map, manage tours. This one is manage users. Manage reviews. And then finally we have one with the briefcase. And this one doesn't have the text here, but it is manage bookings. All right, so let's get rid of that and continue our work down here. So this one here will be the form for changing the user settings. And so the personal data will be here in these values, okay? So basically in an HTML input element, the value is kind of a predefined text that we can put inside an input element. And so usually what we put there is the current value of that input, so of that field. And so right now, that's of course the name of the user. And so let's put that here. User.name. And then down here, it's then of course the email. And here we also have the image of the user. So image / users / the image name itself. Okay. Then down here, there's nothing to do. All right. And actually that's it. So that's really all the data that's coming from the user object that we have to put in. Okay, so that is the template. Let's now go ahead and add the route to the view router. So right here, and this one is going to be called /me. And so we're going to have a controller called get account. Now this one here, of course, is actually going to be a protected route, right? Because only if we're actually logged in, we will get access to this page. And so we need to use or protect middleware here. So that's an auth controller .protect. Okay. So just as we did with all our other protected routes. Now, one problem that I see with this is that this protect middleware here is very similar to the isLoggedIn. And so we will actually do some duplicate operations there, which is not ideal. Because remember that this isLoggedIn will run for all the requests. Right? So let's quickly take a look at these so that I can make my point. So in protect, we get the current user down here. So we have this find by ID here, but we do the same down here in logged in. Okay, and so by using isLoggedIn and protect at the same time, we will do this query twice. And so that is not ideal, of course. And so let's put this isLoggedIn here only on the routes which are not protected. Okay, because on the protected route, this check if the user is logged in will actually happen as well, right? But not in this middleware, but then in the protect middleware, because it basically checks for that as well, right? So let's cut it from here and simply paste it in other routes which are not protected. Okay, makes sense? And so like this, we do not have this problem of basically doing the exact same query twice in all the protected middlewares. And that's a bit better for our performance. Now, just one thing that we do in the isLoggedIn that we currently do not do in protect is this here. So we put the current user on the response.locals. And so let's actually do the same now in the current user. And so let's do the same here in the protect middleware. So you put the current user both on request.user and on response.locals, all right? So that we can then automatically use it in all the templates after it. So in this case, in our account template, all right? So give it a save. And now we need to add this getAccountController in order to, of course, fix this error that we get currently. So that's in views controller. .getAccount request and response, and you will see in a second why we only need these two. So to get the account page, all we really need to do is to simply render that page. We don't even need to query for the current user because that has already been done in the protect middleware, right? And so really all we need to do is to do something like this. So copy this code and then here account, and let's give it a title of your account. All right, so that makes that error disappear. And now as a final piece of the puzzle, let's add the correct link actually in the header. So here in our header, right now the link doesn't point to this account page, right? So it points to nowhere, and so it should now point to /me. Okay, and so that should be the final piece to actually make it work. And so let's log in here now with test1234. We are successfully logged in, and now upon clicking here we get our page. Fantastic. Now there's one error here with the user photo, so let's fix that. But beside that, actually all of it is working just fine. We also get this menu here because we are currently in admin, and so let's test that also in a second to see if it disappears for other users. And actually we also get this error down here because we have a failed request for the image. And so we already see that we're probably doing something wrong there. And so here in the image, of course, it's not username, it is user photo. So give that a save, reload here, and now indeed, there we go. All right, so let's now log out, see what happens then, and then we get this kind of error. And that's basically because we're trying to access this protected route while not being logged in. All right, so let's try that again now. So if we try to log in with /me, then we get "you're not logged in." Okay? And before we got that weird looking error because we're actually right now in development. But in production, of course, we wouldn't see that weird error that we saw before, right? But what we see now is that, of course, our route really is protected, so we cannot access it if we're not logged in. Now, just to finish, let's actually log in with some other account just to see if the administrator part also works. So let's again use Laura here, and you see that she is just a regular user. All right. And now we get her user account without, of course, the admin menu. Okay, perfect. So that is building the account page. And as I said before, in the next video, we will then take care of actually updating these account settings.